But yeah, week 1, we got 4 players here. Of course, we talked about Neutron already, known from the one-on-one. We also got Wiz in from France. He's also playing for the national team of France in the one-on-one. How good is Wiz in FFA?
Honestly, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of him lately. I think he was playing more like 1 year ago, so I'm very curious what we can expect from him. Of course, very strong mechanics. Yeah, other than that, maybe HighTac, do you know a little bit more about him?
He's really good. I think especially for someone who hasn't played that much. I mean, he has played some events, but I think he has a very calm mindset, and that really helped him to like he's not someone who's like getting into like who's hot-headed like Neutron can be sometimes. So I think he's while also being very skilled. He's yeah, I mean, he has other weaknesses potentially, but he's a very, very strong player.
Okay, then let's kick this off. 15-minute delay. Just to be clear, this is best of 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
who wins this will take 20 points. Top score will get you an additional 3 points, and second and third places get 12 points, and then last place 10 points.
Gotcha. All right, then. We got the player names here. I think unlike War3 Champions, where the player names are hidden, what's the rule set? So chat, no chat, manip, no manip. What's the deal in FML?
Anything goes. So usually, unless all players agree to play no chat or want to play on W3 Champions, where unfortunately not all maps are available, it's like really like there's chat allowed, manip is allowed. You can annoy your enemies as much as you like. So the only thing you can't do is like feeding XP or items to an enemy, unless. So there are always exceptions to a rule. So for example, if you're down to like your last 50 gold and one of your enemies can only stay in the game if you revive your hero, then they can give you 1 item to sell in order for you to revive your hero. So those kind of like traits are allowed, but you can't just drop like 10 items if you before leaving in order to give someone else an edge. So that will be penalized.
All right, then we see chat in full effect, and now we talked about the players that we are familiar with in one-on-one, but the unknown players, Supremo and Arnie, what do we know about them?
Yes. Supremo is like an Argentinian. I think he's from Argentina. He's a legend. Like he's an elf player who always plays Demon Hunter, Keeper, Priestess, and he's always sticking to his style, mixing and combining a lot of different elf units. He's rarely winning games because he's not helping at all. So if someone else needs help, he's usually not doing that. He's just following his own game plan. But he seems to be a fun guy. Not easy to communicate in English with him. But yeah, he's definitely like he's a mascot of the South American community. And Arnie is like a Finnish legend, being a player that has been playing FFA forever. He's usually playing random, and he's a man of strong opinions. I would say he thinks he's. I mean, he would probably tell you that he sees himself on par with those other players here. I would say he's a bit weaker, but
okay.
We will see. Definitely someone who spent a lot of time playing FFA in the past.
Yeah, so he has a very great mind of FFA as well, very strong FFA sense, so he knows whom to help, when to help, and not to help when he's ahead, and also how he can eke out wins in a cocky fashion.
Looking forward to that a lot. So in our 4-player FFA, we got 3 Night Elves and 1 human. Is that something we should talk about, or doesn't it really matter?
I think it's knowing that Supremo will not play like the standard elf unit combo. I think it's going to promise a bit more a bit more excitement than you would normally feel in a 3 elf in a match with 3 elf players. And also Arnie has a tendency to play MG strides frequently, so it's not going to be the mass Chimera, Hippo stuff that we often see. I do think the human, while human is considered historically it's the most successful race in FFA or in FML, due to like a very strong 100 supply army, due to mass TP of course. But of course, like one of the biggest weaknesses of human is facing like a Panda or a Tinker. So I think he's like, it's very good for him in this situation that the two elves next to him are playing Keeper first, which is very unusual. So I would say that's good for the human here.
Yeah, human is very weak to heavy AoE hero combos like Tinker Panda. So yeah, I agree that he will be happy that there are two keepers at the moment. And also human is the race that doesn't really have one hybrid unit composition. They always have to pretty much adjust to the others. So it would be nice for Neutron if all would go Chimera Hippos, because then he can make his tank, Dragonhawk, Breaker army. But if one elf goes ground and the others go Chippo, tanks are useless against the ground, and against the Chippo you don't have enough anti-air, so it can be tricky as a human if you face multiple different army compositions.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we will see here how he, or what strategy Neutron is going to go for. But usually he has those very, he's mostly going for those early rifle pushes, or early late game rifle pushes. That can be very deadly, and it will be exciting to see here whether if he's going for like the strongest enemy in Wiz, or if he's targeting Arnie, which might be the easier target here, but then you are at risk of facing a very strong Wiz on the west side.
Gotcha. Okay, we talked about the players. Is there any specific about the map? I think I have not seen this map before in the few FFA casts I've done.
It's known to be the most balanced, one of the 2 to 3 most balanced FFA maps of all time. So it's a really good map. Fountain of Manipulation it's called, and it was created by one of the FML admins, I would say more than 10 years ago. I would say from a setup or from a layout perspective, it's pretty much, I mean, it's mirrored almost. So you have those 2 mines per player, one one natural expansion next to their main base, and then one in the center. We will see, usually we see nice clashes around the middle where, yeah, we often see units dying against the golems. And we have a few islands here that could play a role later on. Maybe not, but we see here there's an island where you can build farms and where you can drop with the Zeppelin. But I'm not sure if that will really play a role in the game with these players, but there are some sneaky strategies here, or to drop units in that shallow water here.
Yeah, and we see Panda plus Rifle for Neutron. So Panda very nice here for human because you can creep the middle. You pretty much always need 2 heroes as a human to creep the middle red fast. So MK takes like 50 seconds more to come in. So yeah, and also Panda is a very aggressive hero because it's also very effective against buildings when you're mass TP, and very good in big fights. So I like the choice by him. Also he goes rifle, like 2 options. Either you go rifle or you go fast griffins. I like the rifles here as well because it's good against everything, against Chippo, against ground army of elf. Plus you can creep the middle spot. In the middle there's a red drake, a big red drake, which is magic immune. So rifles can attack him, and if you go for griffins, you pretty much give the middle to the others. And also these marketplaces have the level 9 golem plus the level 6 golem, so rifles way better to creep here on this map.
It sounds pretty similar to what we see in 1-on-1. Don't lose out on creep speed, otherwise you give up map control. Here we see the golems already. Marketplaces, we've seen insanely stacked heroes in all the FFA we got here. Judging from the first few minutes of the game, is there any slip up by a player? Is there anyone gaining an advantage? Looks pretty even to my uneducated eye.
I think Wiz is making a major mistake here, going for the marketplace red spot first instead of going for the middle that you see here is being crept by Neutron now. And you don't have that many options on this map to get like experience, so those red spots in the center are like hugely important. And we saw in the chat before this game in the lobby that some players were talking about clockwise expanding in the middle, which doesn't mean everyone has to do it, but there is like an unwritten agreement that you go for like a clockwise agreement, for a clockwise expansion in the middle if like nothing else has been agreed. And we see here Wiz is already going for like the counter clock, which will lead to a clash, because like as Supremo might demand that that expansion in the middle. And we see here, like now, Wiz is trying to get the second marketplace, which I think is a good move. Might be a little bit risky, but he really needs that. And I like that he's going for Tinker second to face the human.
Yeah, also Neutron now wasted a lot of time. He wanted to steal the marketplace from Wiz, but now he is in the middle of nowhere, no creep camps in sight. So now he can either go into the middle or to his own market on the right, which is luckily not grabbed yet or stolen by Aarnikrati.
Right, so far pretty good items for Neutron, I think. Devotion Aura, True Shot Aura should help out quite a bit. Everybody's grinding towards level 3. This looks like a fairly tame game so far. No clashes, no disputes, just grinding and gathering.
Yeah, especially on a map like this where your enemies are quite far away, I would say, compared to some of the 8-player maps where if you play it with 4 players, some of the players could spawn right next to you. Here it's quite a long way, and rushing will... Like, there are not that many creep spots here, so if you rush, there won't be many creeps left after you finished your fight. So there, especially on a map like this, there really is an incentive for everyone to finish their creep spots, and then at that point have a bank of 2 to 3k, and then start pumping to 80 supply or 100 supply even to go into the first battle.
No one taking the middle yet is interesting, so...
Yeah, especially Wiz should definitely go for it with hippos.
Yeah,
the middle
like-
has a dragon, yeah.
Yeah, the traveling back to the shop is not really efficient, so... Yeah, he will lose like a minute now, and maybe Neutron will be there afterwards. Because it takes a lot of time to creep this middle red drake. We have a mana fountain, so okay, the drake is not regenerating. So yeah.
Ooh,
awesome
you
move.
saw that. You saw that. I'm
I
always
I
undecided.
thought everyone learned this back in 2003.
Yeah.
Good old Nullwood. I
But
took
Neo
some
now
years
knows-
as well. I do now.
Neo now knows how the Hippo Rider HP works, right?
Oh, dude, was it your question?
No, it wasn't, but it was a great question.
Jesus Christ, that melted my brain. But okay, Wiz is getting the middle now. We got... Wait, he drops a Ring of Protection?
+5, so it's probably one of the worst items that you can get, but it's still not that bad, especially against high DPS. Like, he's not facing undead, where like the majority of damage to your heroes is likely going to be dealt by by spells. So here, not facing MK, I think it's a very decent item, especially on your Tinker. If you get him to level 6, you do not face spell damage anyways, so I would say Ring of Protection, decent item here, but not...
The Tinker is so stacked already, wow. Very good item finds.
Yeah, for sure.
Brilliance plus Legion Doomhorn plus the medallion is also the best item for the Tinker.
Yeah, he bought
so-
some of them,
yeah.
but I think with 3 bases that should be fine to spend it.
And
Yeah.
super interesting to see him playing Keeper first. I think it makes sense for creeping, and he got his Tinker to level 4, which is fine, so it worked out well for him getting like the middle spot and 2 marketplace creeps. I think that could have gone wrong very quickly if he had not gotten both of those spots. Because the Keeper is like falling off quickly mid game. So great for creeping, but not that great after until you get him to level 6.
Yeah, everyone breaking upkeep now, as we see. It's the most important thing in FFA that you constantly gain experience on your heroes. So when there are no creeps, it's better to fight and gain some experience instead of staying 50 and hoarding for the most part. Depends a little bit on the race, and like with Walk, you can afford more gold because with bets you can always get out easy XP. But yeah, generally this is how it works. And Arni decided to announce war versus Supremo. Because he's the weakest and Arni wants to get some easier XP than versus Neutron. But Wiz also don't want to fight versus Neutron, it seems.
But now he has to, yeah. Neutron is attacking Wiz, so fine move by Neutron here. I mean, it was smart by Arni, because if you're the first one to announce a fight, like usually if others respect it, you're usually the one that can. You're the only one that is actively deciding who to fight. And Neutron has a hard time here, losing his Paladin.
Yeah, Neutron has a very good control with his Copters.
Yeah. But
because 2 AoE heroes.
But his control is not that great in this fight. I mean, he's winning it, but I don't think he's moving his gyros overly well here. And he lost his Paladin way too quickly.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake was the Paladin loss. Other than that, he's very far ahead now.
Yeah, and Wiz is not pumping units. Huge mistake.
Yeah,
he has supply stock because of the tanks. That was
there were tanks in the main base. I didn't even see.
No,
wow.
That was a good move. Really good move. Not many human players these days do it, like to split tanks early on, but it's so annoying to have like 2 tanks at your expo or in your main base while you're fighting it.
Yeah, I mean, you're losing 8 supply on an 80 supply army, which usually doesn't consist of more than 40 fighting supply, and the rest peasants.
And why isn't he using cluster rockets? Hasn't he spelled them yet?
Well, like maybe he has still a factory. Yes, maybe he didn't.
Yeah, and that would be a huge mistake here. You need cluster rockets for your first fight.
Ooh, but Arni now on Neutron. Wow, that's a rare move. And I think Neutron will be very tilted.
Yeah, I see that.
Kinda easy to get him tilted. You mentioned that in the pre-game already. But man, this is like 10 minutes of nothing, and all of a sudden there's wars all over the map. Arni started it, and then everybody followed.
Yeah, no more creeps. Then it's like usually, unless all players are hoarding and just trying to get a bank, usually like there's no reason why to save more money. It's usually time for everyone to break and get a fight. And Wiz is having a hard time here, so Arni needs to get some experience from Supremo quickly, because I don't see Wiz surviving this for any longer. And again, huge mistake for him not having cluster rockets against.
Yeah, also his hero experience is not well distributed. You would definitely want the Panda level 3 versus human before the Keeper 5.
That's what I like. The Keeper is completely useless here. Like, I'm completely useless. That's why you usually prefer to have like Panda or Tinker first. It would be an entirely different story here, but now he's probably out of this game. He has 4k gold, but can't produce anything, so let's see if he can hide for some time. Advantage here that Supremo is known to not help anyone, so Arni might be afraid of losing against Neutron and might be, he might be attacking Neutron here just to keep Wiz in the game.
Exactly, because Arni knows that if Wiz is out, then he has to play Neutron 1v1 pretty much, because Supremo will not really help. So it's smart from him, and that's what I meant with Arni being very smart in knowing exactly what to do.
Yeah, this is exactly the kind of situation that I was talking about earlier for Neutron. So this is where like you can't really, I mean he has a strong army, but you can't really win this at this stage, right? Because he's not like he needs to heal his gyros, so they will probably die quite quickly here. We see it. Ooh, the breath.
Yeah. Wow, bad control now.
Oh my!
Stop everything.
Oh no! Everything is stuck next to the Archmage, and the Chimeras destroy absolutely everything Neutron had left.
Yeah, that's not where you want to be as a human in the fight versus Master Chimeras at AoE.
And it was, and this is exactly the kind of, I mean, you could say, okay, it was a backstep for Arnie, so it was mean to attack him. But this is, like, you can come back from this situation. So in this case, like, Neutron needs to join forces with someone else, and they need to weaken Arnie together. It was a smart move for Arnie to go for this attack, I think. But now he will have a target on his back for at least the next, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes. And Supremo is not a big help here.
Nope, not at all. And Neutron is getting more triggered by the minute. Supremo, in the meantime, just expanding, rebuilding his army that he lost.
Ooh, and what is Wiz doing? Wiz is attacking Neutron's heroes here. That's a huge mistake.
He has no information about what's going on.
Yeah.
He's still mad from getting his base killed by Neutron.
That's the most tilting thing. Wow.
Yeah.
So that was basically the opposite of what he was supposed to be doing. Neutron's out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tricky part, right? He was in a strong position, and I think it's super hard in his situation, right? I mean, there was not that much he could have done except trying to join forces earlier and maybe communicate a bit better. But in this situation, you're always relying on someone else to help you, or you have to hide buildings somewhere in order to survive. But it's really, and he hasn't produced much, right? So I think he could have seen that attack coming a bit earlier because he had those scout farms here. So he should have seen it coming and maybe pump more units. I think he had the goal.
Yeah, I mean, after seeing mass chimps wrecking this base, he should definitely go TP back to his natural and make a better army against this air.
Yeah, and Arnie is doing exactly what he has to do. I mean, Supremo is known to be a historically bad hoarder, so Supremo is always slow on gold, even if he has mines, because he's never spending any time on 50 supply. And I'm happy to see Supremo attacking here, but we will see if he has any shot to deal damage to Arnie before Arnie kills Wiz.
Damn, this is an action-packed FFA. No time to rest after the first engagement. Will be interesting if Arnie moves back, but he can expand pretty much everywhere, right? So he can go for Neutron's former expo, and then he can claim Neutron's entire base if he wants to.
Yeah, Arnie should definitely, I mean, in this situation, I think Arnie has to decide whether he wants to play like the long three-way here, or if he wants to finish it quickly, which I think he should. So I think it's a mistake by him to changing focus to Supremo. I think he should feel confident to fight Supremo one-on-one. So I think it would have been the better move to finish Wiz, because Wiz is like super weak here. Wiz has 200 gold, no supply. So I think he should have tried to go for the neck and kill Wiz in this game, and then face Supremo one-on-one.
Especially since Supremo doesn't have any building kill potential. He has no chimeras.
Yeah.
So Arnie has time to finish Wiz.
Yeah, now with every minute that he takes to fight Supremo, Wiz will have time to rebuild and get an army, and we will see if Arnie will be in a strong enough position to finish the game still. But it's looking fine for him.
Lots of losses for Supremo here. Wiz and him are fighting for the expansion upper right. Oh, Tranquility and a mana fountain. That's of course the dream for Arnie in the middle.
Oh, and he's using his his info.
Whoops.
By accident. I know the feeling.
Yeah, this Chippo armor is so scary because it wrecks your base within seconds. So if you are fighting someone and losing maybe a hero, and suddenly there are chimps in your base, it's so tough to defend. So you have to really see it early and react early. And that was the mistake by Neutron here, that he didn't react in time, and then he TP'd in the worst spot because he had no other choice, pretty much. Yeah,
it's super hard to deal with.
It's just one mistake and everything dies, as we just saw.
Yeah. I mean, arguably also easier to, like, it's Panda is, like, Archmage Panda is a great combo for human, arguably the best. But in a situation where your only chance is to like kill a hero in order to force your enemy back, of course an MK can be easier to, like, you can make it work a bit easier with an MK sometimes. But yeah, we'll see here if Supremo can deal any damage to to Arnie. I think Supremo should definitely break 80 supply now just for this fight in order to keep something alive.
Looks like he's trying. He's going for a couple of archers, but yeah, boom, Expo gone. 3-3 hippos. A lot of fun against buildings, as you guys pointed out already, but comes down to Wiz a little bit, how much damage he can do with his army as a counterattack.
Yeah, plus 65 damage on the hippos with splash damage.
And I like how everyone is adopting Gradient English, like he expands with HI. So, and this is a horrible fight for Supremo. I'm not sure why he's taking that. He's only feeding at this point and might be leaving now.
I mean, what's he supposed to do? The fight is happening in his base.
I mean, he should just go for hit and run something, I guess. That's his only chance rather than feeding XP here. I mean, if, let's say if, and we will see in a second, if Wiz is managing to kill all of these expos, Arnie is down to 360 gold. He has 90 supply, but if Wiz can somehow delay this, like Supremo's death for another few minutes, then he might be able to go up to 100 also and use a superior micro to win a fight. And it just takes one fight, and you got the upper hand.
Yeah, so for Arnie, it's pretty much his last army. It's all about not losing too much. And for Wiz, it's all about time, buying time.
And imagine Arnie had killed Wiz instead of changing focus to Supremo. There was, like, Supremo would have had no shot in a one-on-one, even in 10 minutes from now. And now Wiz is a major threat with 3 expansions. And we will see here how much damage he can deal with his low hero levels. But Arnie doesn't have that many hippos. He is mostly focusing on chimeras here. And he has only his panda for AoE. So if you get like a superior hippo army, Arnie's air is toast.
Alright, let's see. Wiz is pulling back, of course, as you said, trying to buy more time.
Yeah, and he's up to 90 supply, so he's pumping. I don't think he should pump chimeras here, which he does. But he has only one Ancient of Wind because he's still in the tech to tier 2. So I'm not sure if he will have enough time, but I think if he's lucky, I still think he can win this.
I mean, he has Panda Tinker, so he has double AoE against air. So that should be good.
If he has reskill to rockets.
I hope. Yeah, he did.
Oh wow, that's a big fight. Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire, all the hippos. Panda down, so far, so much for the double AoE.
So the air battle is won by Wiz here. No more hippos. So, ooh, but I'm not sure why he didn't pull back in time. That's what she said.
You say the air battle is won, but I see a couple of hippos still left for Arnie, and pretty much no anti-air for Wiz anymore, and the chimeras still dominating while he's taking out another expansion.
He only has one Ancient of Wind.
Yeah, he has no tech yet, so he was slow.
Yeah. True.
So yeah, this is Arnie's game to win or to lose. I don't think he can lose this anymore, but we will see.
Lots of hero focus once again. Chimeras are absolutely ridiculous at that stage of the game. All that's left of the hippos is one on each side, but yeah, I think that was a quickie.
I'm not sure why he's pulling back his chimeras against those heroes. He should try to focus down the panda, so he's maybe forcing him back one more time. But I guess, yeah, this game over. One of the shorter ones we've seen, probably a 30-minute game.
Yeah, it was a pretty technical game, or pretty strategical game rather. Like one very good decision that won Arnie the game, and one bad decision by Newton that lost him the game. So yeah, that's how fast things can change.
And we see here in the chat Supremo complaining that Wiz took his expo in the middle, which is kind of true, but in that case you should just demand it back and take it back early on. instead of just sitting on one expo and then losing as he did. And yeah, this was a very easy victory for Arnie. Good decision making, just backstabbing the by far strongest player, and then keeping enough vision to finish off the other two. Well played by Arnie.
Damn, I was a little afraid that this game is lasting until Meisterschaft later tonight, but half an hour and it's done. One of the quickest FFAs I've seen in my time.
Sure. Yeah. That's the difficulty with like FML or FFA events in general, that unless you have a counter in the game, a time limit, it's really hard to plan for it. You can somewhat tell by looking at players and maps, but not even then. Like we saw 5-hour, 4-hour games on maps like this, and sometimes it's sometimes it's a quick one. That was match number. Which match was it? Match number 5.
Number 5.
So Arnie getting 23 points, and Wiz and Neutron 12 each, and Supremo will return with 10 points.
Wait, why is Neutron getting more points when he left earlier?
It's only like there's only one winner who will be rewarded with 20 points, and after that it's depending on the score. It's not depending on who left, because otherwise it would be just a huge sit fest who leaves last.
Oh, okay.
So, it's about like the score. We saw some sneaky moves by sometimes like Trunks famously unmounted and mounted Hippogriff riders for like 1 hour straight in order to boost his unit production, which is one of the few ways how you can manipulate your units produced. So that's how back in the days Trunks managed to get top score, although he was losing the game. But of course we will not allow this kind of abusement.
Maybe you should have tried that in Meisterschaft to get a better result there.
Maybe.
If some people think, hey, that was super fun, I want to join the FFA community, what should they do right now?
Just go to ffamasters.com and click on the Discord link that is in the top right of the website. So in our Discord server, you will find game names, and you will find other players to play with, and you find FFA guides and people to give you tricks or to insult you if you attack them in certain situations. But usually that's the best way to get used to FFA, or just search for an FFA on WC3 Champions.
All right, then. That was game 1 of FML season 33, but RulaZ, I think we have a little bit more time together in the next 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, I mean, we have the W3 Champions finals, and we are lucky that we are able to stream some FFA to show you some more FFA. There was a very active last season on W3 Champions, and based on the ranking, I invite the players to play the qualifier for the big final, where the winners of the qualifiers will meet Quest, who won the latter season decisively pretty much, at least from his win rate. I mean, he is the only player that has 22-11 stats in FFA. So double wins and losses, which is, I didn't think it was possible over this sample, but yeah, he is just an insanely strong player. I'm that player, and I'm very happy that he will play in the finals. On the side, together with Lelu, who we saw playing last finals, 2 matches actually, the big reigning champ. I mean, 18 years old, which is so cool that he is younger than the game. We know that he is very strong, and he's getting better and better every day. He's practicing so much, he's just a great guy. So 2 very, very strong players. I think at the moment the 2 best players of FFA. It's of course always hard to determine who is the best. But yeah, and 2 qualifiers who will face them next week or over the next 2 weeks, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, 2 seasons ago we only had the final, then we added a qualifier, now we add another qualifier to the qualifiers because we heard that you like qualifiers and FFA. Plus, of course, we try to grab every chance we get to cast more FFA Masters League. I think scheduling is not the easiest with 4 players all across the globe, but whenever you have a date scheduled, just hit me up and we'll try to make it work.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for investing time into this mode. That's not beloved by anyone, but it has a very strong player base that is always.
I hope by anyone.
I love the chaos. I love the politics. I love everything. I love you guys. I love everything about FFA. So very, very happy that you give me the opportunity to stream this.
Thanks, Neil.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and as we saw, it's always very unpredictable, especially when there are some weaker players in the cast and some very strong players. Yeah, you never know what you get, but that's also the fun of FFA, right?
100%. I know that I'm very happy to get more of it. So the next scheduled FFA streams are this Sunday for War 3 Champions, then next Friday and next Saturday. Mark it in your calendars, and we also get Legion TD this Saturday. So lots of cool new game modes here on Back to Warcraft. Now that we don't have any DreamHack or any other big tournaments coming up, spread some love for the niche modes. You guys, thank you once again. I think that's it. Very short stream here, about an hour, but we'll see each other very, very soon. If you have any shoutouts, callouts, plugs, stage is yours, gentlemen.
Mainly to you, like you give so much to all those small Warcraft 3 sub-communities, and it's great to keep all those modes and everything alive, and like you're the glue to Warcraft 3.
Aww.
Yeah, I also want to give Dennis a shout out, who is at the moment streaming FFA for like 5 to 10 hours a day. So he has the full FFA addiction. And yeah, he streams it. So Dennis WC3 on Twitch. Also on Warcraft3.info you can find his stream. And also Sexy streaming more and more these days again. So FML_sexy on Twitch with KS, SEKSI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just double down on the shout out to Dennis. I met him last week in Cologne and we partied until like 5:30 in the morning. So not only very good at grinding FFA, also very good at the glass. So shout out Dennis. Should I host Gradient now? Will he continue streaming FFA or?
If you tell him to, I'm sure he will.
Okay.
So yeah, feel free to do it.
Gradient, let's go. Gentlemen, have a lovely rest of your day. We will be back at 7:15 p.m. for ESL Meisterschafts quarterfinals. Ente versus Francis and Van versus Kevin. Gonna be good. See you then.